But part of the way that we can solve that problem, that we can make sure that we actually are really getting the feedback we need, is through mentors. But there's a trick here too. I think all of us in the room probably would like to have a mentor. Maybe some of you do. That is fantastic. But I think for all of us, it would be pretty fabulous if there was someone who was just like us, but 15 years older, and said, I pick you, and I'm going to make sure that you're not going to make any of the mistakes that I did. I'll teach you. That would be great. But all too often, that person doesn't exist. Not out there. And in fact, there's a reason for it. During the course of writing my book, Reinventing You, I interviewed a guy named Tom DeLong, who's a Harvard Business School professor, and he talked to me about what he actually termed a mentorship crisis, which is that in the past 20 years, because of increasing competitive pressure in the marketplace, because of increasing demands that senior executives have to be driving ROI, it has meant that in many industries, the people who historically, at the senior levels, would have been allowed to divert some of their attention to cultivating the next generation of talent, is essentially no longer permitted to do that. They have to keep working with clients and making money. And because of that, it means we have a generation of people who don't have mentors, which is pretty unfortunate because we want to be able to harness the benefits of learning from other people, gleaning best practices, making sure, indeed, that mistakes are not repeated. So how can we do it? How can we circumvent this? I will offer one solution, which is that instead of waiting for the perfect mentor, the older, wiser version of you to appear, which may or may not happen, we all need to take charge of creating our own mentor board of directors. What I mean by that is that there may not be one perfect person to be your mentor, but I am willing to bet that for all of us, we have people, whether they're peers, maybe they're above you in the organizational hierarchy, maybe they're below you, they could even be your intern, but they have elements that you want to learn from. Maybe this friend is great at networking. Maybe that one really has an understanding of social media. Maybe someone else is a brilliant public speaker. If you can pick the skills that you admire and want to learn and create your own smorgasbord of mentors for individual things, that's one way that you can make sure that you're learning the things that you need and building a network to help support you. And part of where this idea sprung from was in the course of writing Reinventing You, I interviewed a woman named Hank Philippi Ryan. She is a television newscaster in Boston. She's won a number of Emmy Awards. She has her own segment on the TV news called Hank Investigates. She's been doing it for years. But she told me a story about her intern. And that was that one day, her intern, whom she loved very much, came to her and said, Hank, I've written a romance novel. I'm going to submit it to publishing houses, but before I do, will you read it and offer feedback? And she said, well, sure, absolutely. And she said, as she was there reading the romance novel, she said, it was like the Zen saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. She said she had wanted to write a book ever since she was young, but she'd never done it. She never found the time, she never made the time. But reading this book by her intern and seeing that it was possible, she said, I can do it too. And so you will see here displayed one of Hank's most recent mystery novels. She is now the author of 6 mystery novels, and she's won almost every prize in the genre. She has built a second career for herself and fulfilled one of her dreams because she chose to be open to learning from a non-traditional mentor. And that's one of the most important ways that we can begin to accelerate our own success.